Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read F3 3007. Marmy's Surprise, A Little Woman's Story. Novel by Louisa May Alcott. Chapter 1. Usually, the March family loved Christmas. Every year, Father would bring home a great big tree. Marmy would sing carols and hang up the stockings. The four sisters would bake gingerbread cookies and decorate the tree. Meg was the oldest March's sister. She liked to make long gallons of popcorn. The tomboy Joe would put up the light. Beth hung ornaments on each branch, and little Amy always topped the tree with a special star. But this year was different. Father was far away, fighting in a war. He would not be home for the holidays, and the family was too poor to buy presents. The Marchy sisters tried to make the best of things. They did not have a tree, but they could still bake gingerbread cookies. It's awful to be poor, said Meg. She remembered when the family had more money. It won't feel like Christmas without presents. He grumbled. Joe. Some girls have lots of pretty things, said little Amy, but other girls have nothing at all. Beth chimed in. We've got father and mother and each other. But the sisters knew that Beth was only half right. They were lucky to have such a wonderful family. But they might not see father for a long time. He and the other soldiers were probably very sad and lonely. The holidays won't be the same without father, agreed Meg, and without presents. There are so many pretty things I want. I know, said Joe. We each have $1. We could buy something for ourselves. Joe was a bookworm. She already knew which book she would buy. Let's do it, said Meg. I'm gonna buy new piano music, announced Beth. I want a new box of drawing pencils, said Amy. I really need them. Suddenly the girls were excited. They would have Christmas presents after all. Chapter 2. The grandfather clock in the hall struck 6. Mother would soon be home. Beth found the slippers. Meg lit the lamp. Amy jumped up from Mommy's favorite easy chair. Joe moved over to the hearth. She held the slippers close to the warm fire. These slippers are worn out, said Joe. Marmy needs a new pair. Marmy a new pair of slippers, said Beth. I don't need new music. No, I will, cried Amy. Meg added, but I'm the oldest. Papa told me to take care of Marmy. Joe cut in. I'll buy the slippers. Beth stopped the fight. She had the best idea. Let's not get anything for ourselves, she said. Let's each buy Marmy something instead. The girls forgot about their wish list. There was one thing they wanted more. They wanted their loving Marmy to be happy on Christmas Day. We'll go shopping tomorrow, said Joe. Marmy will think we are buying presents for ourselves. She will be so surprised. Each girl thought of a special gift, a pair of slippers, a pair of gloves, white handkerchiefs, a bottle of perfume. They giggled with delight over the plans. I'm glad my girls are so merry, said a cheery voice at the door. It was Marmy. She had been at the Soldiers' Aid Society. She went there every day to pack first aid boxes for the soldiers. Marmy took off her bonnet and cloak. I've got a wonderful surprise, she said. A letter from father. I'll read it to you after dinner. Joe jumped to her feet. A letter? A letter? 3 cheers for father. The Marchy sisters wanted to hear father's letter. They hurried to get dinner ready. Amy bustled around the house and told everyone what to do. Meg arranged the tea. Beth buttered the biscuits. Joe set the table. The girls ate quickly. They hardly tasted the food. Beth finished first and waited patiently for the others. Amy and Meg chattered about what father might be eating for his dinner. Jo was so excited that she dropped the bread on the floor. After dinner, the girls gathered by the fire. Mother read father's letter aloud. It was full of hope and good wishes. Father missed the whole family. He thought about them every day. He told the girls about life in the army. He told them about the men and the long marches. Marmee folded the letter. She tucked it into her pocket. Her eyes were misty with tears. Everyone was quiet, thinking about father. They missed him too. If only he could be home for Christmas. Living without father is hard, said Marmee. You need to be strong. I want to try very hard to be a little woman, said Jo. I wish you had something to show us how. Look under your pillows on Christmas morning, said Marmee as she left the room. Her eyes twinkled, but she said no more. After Marmee went upstairs, it was time for chores. The girls pulled out their work baskets and started to sew sheets for their Aunt March. Usually the girls complained about the dull work, but tonight they pretended the sheets were continents. They talked about all the magnificent countries they were stitching through. After all the chores were done, Marmee joined the girls at the piano. The Beth hopped up on the bench and began to play. Everyone sang their favorite song. Marmee and Meg had lovely voices. Their singing sounded like flute. Amy chirped like a cricket. Joel liked to sing too. Her voice sometimes cracked and went off key, but none of the Marches minded. They loved every member of their little choir. Chapter 3. Christmas morning was bright and snowy. Jo was the first one awake. She looked under her pillow for Marmee's surprise. It was a red Bible. Soon all the sisters woke up. Each girl found the Bible under her pillow. The books were decorated with Christmas colors. Marmee had written a special message inside each one. The March sisters loved their gift. Let's read a little every morning, said Meg. It would be a wonderful way to start the day. The other girls agreed. They eagerly opened their books and read. An hour later, the girls went down to the kitchen. Marmee's Christmas breakfast was already on the table. Merry Christmas, said Marmee. Then she added, Girls, I'm worried about Mrs. Hermel. Marmee told them the sad story of their neighbor. Poor Mrs. Hermel. Mrs. Hermel had 6 children and a newborn baby. She did not have enough food to feed them all. Marmee wanted to help the Hermel family. My girls, will you give them your breakfast as a Christmas present? Asked Marmee. The girls were very hungry. Christmas breakfast was their favorite meal, but it did not take them long to decide. We'll help carry the things to the poor children, said Beth eagerly. I will take the cream and the muffins, added Amy. Meg wrapped up the bread and the buckwheat pancakes. The March girls and Marmee hurried over to the Hummels. Mama, are they angels? Asked the grateful Hummel children. The 4 March sisters had never been called angels before. They gave Mrs. Hermel the food and giggled all the way home. That's a loving old neighbor, said Meg when they returned. The girls had bread and milk for breakfast, but they were happy. They had done a good deed indeed. After breakfast, the girls gave Marmee her presents. Each present had a note tied to it. Marmee loved every single gift. Marmee put the slippers on right away. She sprinkled perfume on the new handkerchief. She tucked the handkerchief into her pocket. She tried the gloves on. They fit perfectly. You're my wonderful, wonderful girls, said Marmee joyfully. There were no more presents for the girls, but it didn't matter. Marmee's smiling face was all they wanted. Chapter 4. Every Christmas, Jo wrote a play. This year it was called The Witch's Curse. Each sister had a part. The girls built a stage. They made a forest out of plants and green cloths. They built a tower out of boxes. That night, a dozen friends came to the March house to watch the play. It was time. Beth and Amy pulled the curtain up. Joe played Rodrigo. Meg played Zara. Rodrigo had to rescue the beautiful Zara from the evil Hugo. Meg was trapped in a tall tower. Joe bravely climbed to the top, but the boxes were not sturdy enough. They wobbled under Joe's feet. The tower fell down. Joe and Meg landed on the floor, on the boxes. The audience roared with laughter. But Joe just pushed the boxes aside. She stood up and said her next line. Her sisters followed her lead. The play went on. At the end, everyone clapped with glee. After the play, there was another Christmas surprise. It was a splendid feast. The dining room table was covered with food. There were bowls of pink and white ice cream. There was cake and fruit and French candy. There were also 4 bunches of flowers, one for each March girl. The feast took everyone's breath away. Did fairies bring this? Asked Amy. No, it was Santa Claus, said Beth. I think Mother did it, said Meg. But Mrs. March shook her head. Maybe Aunt March sent the feast over, said Joe. No one could guess. It wasn't fairies or Santa Claus or Aunt March. The feast was sent by Mr. Lawrence. He was the March's rich next-door neighbor. Mr. Lawrence lived with his grandson. They usually kept to themselves. They never did anything for their neighbors except tonight. I want to meet that Lawrence boy, said Joe. Maybe next year he will come to our play. The new year may bring you a new friend, replied Marmee. The March family and their guest sat down to enjoy the delicious dinner. They touched glasses and made a toast to happy days ahead. One by one, the sleepy little women crawled into bed. Christmas had been full of wonderful surprises. The March family did not have much money, but they were very lucky. They were rich in friends and laughter and love. The end.